Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. This is podcast episode number 147. I've got a treat for you guys today. I'm going to introduce you to a new friend of mine. This is Kelly Roach. And I actually met Kelly first. I just heard her name on a podcast. And you know how sometimes you'll hear somebody's name and then you'll hear them again on somebody else's podcast. And then all of a sudden, Facebook's always listening, Kelly. So then I see you showing up in my feed. And then I literally had a chance to meet you at an event in Phoenix. And it was so much fun. And I want to introduce you guys to Kelly Roach today because she is a force to be reckoned with in the business world. And I think you're going to be so encouraged by Kelly's story. So Kelly, welcome to the show.
So excited to be here. Thank you so much.
I'm going to read your bio, girl. Your bio just sounds badass. We got to switch mine. Okay. So here's Kelly's bio because this sounds amazing. So Kelly is known as the business catalyst, helping elite business owners become game changers in their field and achieve $1 million breakthroughs in their business, because who doesn't want $1 million breakthrough? And that's literally what we're going to be talking about today. She's a former Fortune 500 executive whose programs and consulting of corporate strategies combined with speed and agility of online strategies. She's been all over TV. She has a book. She has her own podcast called The Unstoppable Success Radio. And she is as lovely in real life as she is online. So thank you so much for being here.
I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so your story is like the wild, wild west. All right, so tell me all of the things. Number one, you were born. And then number two, you were an NFL cheerleader. And then what happened from there? And I need to know, who are you cheerleading for? How does this happen? And then can you kind of just give me just the overview of life?
Yeah. I mean, so I grew up in a big family, 5 kids. My dad worked for a nonprofit and my mom was home with us because there's 5 kids.
Where were you at in the lineup of children?
I'm number 2.
Okay.
I'm number 2. And so, we always kind of grew up struggling financially, right? My family was a very religious, family, all of that. And which meant that I got this amazing upbringing and this just amazing love and commitment from my parents, which is awesome. And they sacrificed a lot to put us in Catholic school, which I believe was completely worth it. My daughter's in Catholic school as well. But that being said, I got no a lot.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were raised Catholic. I was raised Catholic.
Yes.
Okay.
So I got the no, we can't afford it. I think they were the 4 most common words in my family besides let's go to church and pray.
Gotcha.
So, in college, I always had 3-4 jobs. I was waitressing, I was babysitting, I was teaching aerobics, and I was an Eagles cheerleader. And how that happened was I ended up going to the school that I had the most grant and fund money from. So I didn't have to be in a lot of debt when I graduated. And the school that I went to did not have a Division I dance team, and they didn't have a Division I cheerleading team. I had been competing at a really high level in both growing up. And so it didn't really make sense for me to go to college and then go on this team that was kind of 5 steps back.
Right. Sure.
So I either had a choice of settling and taking a step back, or just throwing all caution to the wind and saying, screw it, I'm going to audition for the NFL. Yeah. So freshman year, I auditioned for the NFL. I made it. I was the youngest one on the team. Yeah. And it was one of my 4 jobs that I had all throughout school. It was an amazing experience every turn. And it's really how I learned how to communicate with people, whether I was talking to a CEO up in one of the, mega boxes, or just the average person that was there that wanted autographs to be signed. But it taught me how to be on camera and how to be a great communicator. And most importantly, an unbelievable level of discipline. Because what people don't realize is that, game days are 14-hour days. Rehearsals 3 times a week are, 5-6 hours of athletic performance, hardcore athletic performance. So I just learned this unbelievable amount of discipline and confidence and courage. And, from there, when I graduated, I was like, okay, it's been fun having 4 jobs, for forever.
And did you cheerlead for all 4 years? Did you do that all 4 years?
No, I cheered my first 2 years.
Okay.
Then I went to California for an exchange program, and I actually interned. I did 2 internships with the Philadelphia Eagles afterwards. And then I was really focused on getting ready for my job search and all of that for my career. But when I graduated, I, didn't know what I wanted to do besides the fact that I didn't want to be sitting in spreadsheets behind a desk, and I wanted to be communicating and working with people. right?
Yeah.
And so, got into staffing and recruiting, started off really focusing on sales, fell in love with sales, had no interest in leading people. And my mentor at the time really worked on me and said, you don't understand that, if you want to go high and go far in life, it's all about teaching others. It's all about creating exponential impact. And that's where
Yeah.
exponential income growth came from. So I got my head on board with it,
Yeah.
and was promoted 7 times in 8 years. So I started off with a team of one person,
Right.
and I built it up to a team of 100 people. And I went from managing one location that was a new location that I started from the ground up. I built it to $1 million location within 7 months,
Mm-hmm.
and went from one location to 17. And, then by that point I had like met my husband, we were
Sure.
getting married. I was like, okay, what do I want for my life?
Right. And you were still young at this point. Like,
Yes.
were you like one of the youngest at that?
Oh my gosh.
And
Everybody hated me. It was
I was
so
going to say,
hard.
how was that? Especially like, sometimes we as women too aren't the kindest to one another. So was it harder working with women, almost being the youngest, or what was that experience like?
Yes. Yeah. I think the men were more open because they just wanted to get the results and they didn't really care.
Yeah.
The women, I think, had a really hard time. Like, I was coming in, this like 22, 23-year-old kid.
Yeah. Cheerleader.
My parents' age. Yeah. Cheerleader. But I will say, they did come around to the other side, because very quickly they saw, wow, if I get on board with what this girl's doing, I'm going to make all the money. I'm going to get all the promotions. I'm going to get the results and the success and all of that. So it was tough. But I think those things are how you learn to be a leader.
They're character builders.
From the easy stuff.
Yeah.
You learn through adversity and becoming wise and that type of thing. But yeah, so it was amazing. I learned so much. And I met my mentor of 15 plus years, who is still my very good friend today.
Yes.
Taught me everything I know about business. And, I never dreamed of being an entrepreneur. That wasn't my goal in life. I wanted to be a corporate executive. I wanted to do all those things. And I kind of got to that top point and I realized, this isn't it.
Yeah. How long ago was this, Kelly? Like, was it like back in the pager days? Did you have a pager?
It was, so we were just starting to use email when I was starting selling. Email was just starting.
Isn't that crazy? Can you even imagine like what we do today without the resources that we have today? I'm like, how did we even do business?
Well, it's amazing. And I think it's so important for you to make that point, because I say this on my podcast all the time. Entrepreneurs today don't realize, right? I was out there sweating. It was 100 degrees out. I would be going to 20, 30 businesses a day.
I guarantee you were wearing pantyhose. And
the whole thing.
I know. Now we get to work in our jammies.
We're in our cozy home offices on video. Like, I get to make $1 million from home in my yoga pants. People don't understand all the renditions of what we went through to get to this point. And now people are entering the market today, and they have this tool in the palm of their hand with the phone. And my message to the world constantly is guys, like, you have to understand the miraculous of this moment that we have right now, and not waste it, because it is the easiest it will ever be.
It totally is. And Kelly, you have one daughter, is that right? If I remember correctly. Don't you wonder what business will look like for our children? Because like, I have 2 teenage boys. I have one turning 18. My oldest turns 18 on Saturday, which is just unbelievable. But my boys are sneaker flippers. Like, we call them sneakerheads.
Oh, cool.
So they have a legitimate like business license. They have a legitimate Instagram account. They have almost 2,000 followers. And they flip sneakers. And I am like their biggest fan, rooting them on. Sometimes they make $20 on a deal. Sometimes like they made $600 on a pair of tennis shoes one time. And I am just cheering for them. And then I wonder, but what will business look like, in another 20 years for like my youngest, who's 5? Like, it'll just be mind blowing, because someday she'll be going, and we used to sit in our comfy, it was so hard in our home offices. Like, it's going to be mind blowing to see where things end up going. So, okay. So you're in business and you weren't really wanting to be an entrepreneur necessarily, but what happened? You met your husband and all the things.
I just realized what I wanted for my life. I wanted to work from home. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to be in control of my own income.
Yeah.
And I wanted the leadership. I love leading people. It is like the passion of my life. Like, I pour into my team like they are my family. I love leading people. I love making others successful. and I love selling. Like I love selling. And so I was like, I want there to be meaning behind that.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be doing that with a bigger than me purpose, not
Purpose.
just making an organization millions of dollars. And so I really looked at, what is my passion? My passion is teaching,
Yep.
it's coaching, and it's helping other people be successful. And then I was like, well, and what is my skill set? And my skill set is growing business. Like that is what is my zone of genius. It's strategy, right? And so I was like, okay, how can I take the thing that I'm good at and the thing that I'm passionate about and get paid for? And I was like, I can teach small business owners
Yes.
how to grow their businesses. And by the way, make a huge difference in the world, because what's the number one thing that people need help with? The confidence, the certainty, the skill set, the mindset to go out there and take that big idea and have systems in place to be able to actually fulfill their goals and dreams.
Absolutely. So you started that business how many years ago?
That was 2012.
Okay. Which was just literally like yesterday, right?
Yeah.
It was literally like yesterday. Okay. And so you started in 2012, and did things go gangbusters right off the bat, Kelly, or was it more of a slow burn?
No, I would say somewhere in the middle, because, so one of the things that I was really smart about was I started using Facebook ads right away. And
same, girl. Same. Back when you could get ads at a fraction.
Like massive shortcut. Like I didn't have as much pain as I think a lot of people do in the startup phase, only because I had a business growth background and I started using Facebook ads, and I ran an advertisement constantly for a free consultation. Because back in the day when I was starting, I started off doing one-to-one business coaching, high-end one-to-one business coaching. And so, I got to six figures pretty quickly, and then I slowly kind of, stair step. But then eventually we really, we caught our stride, and that's where the last couple of years things have really, I feel like all the work of the first 5 years kind of exploded in the last two, and that's usually how it is, right? You don't see, the iceberg is only that little tip. So you're like, what you're seeing is not anything in comparison to what is actually happening under the surface, right?
Right. And so business today looks a ton different than it did a few years ago when you started it. You now have a team, and do you how many people do you have? How many people are on? What do you call them? Do you call them Team Kelly, Team Roach?
Yeah, Team Unstoppable.
Team Unstoppable. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So I think we're at 14, and I say I think because we made 3 more offers this week. We hire pretty much all full-time employees. So everyone is a full-time employee, and we're hiring 2 to 3 people a month at this point. And my whole life and my whole job has changed. Like it's crazy. Like my clients keep asking for like an example schedule of like what I do. I'm like, can't quite do that for you right now. I'm like,
it's like nailing Jello to a tree. It's like baptizing a cat.
I'm like, give me like a couple months, like let things calm down a little bit, and then I can give you like some sort of
right. But you were in a hyper growth period. If it's okay to just like talk a little bit of numbers, if I understand correctly, you should be hitting the 8-figure mark in the next year. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And by the way, that's per year, friends. That's not like over the lifetime of her business. And I think that's so important to note, because sometimes when people throw out those numbers, I'm like, I know as a savvier entrepreneur, they mean over the life of the last 20 years. And I'm like, come on, that's not true. You're misleading. Kelly's not misleading.
It's a little different. Yeah.
Yes, so, it's a little different.
I mean, we're our growth rate already with what has already been done puts us on pace to do about 20 million in 2020. And that is if we didn't make any improvements, we didn't make any changes. We just kept doing exactly what we're doing.
Congratulations.
And we're making changes every single day. We're hiring people every couple of weeks. So, that's
amazing. Okay. So what's the hardest thing about having a company of that size right now?
It's the fact that the skill set that you're using on a daily basis is changing really fast and constantly. So it's like you're tapping into parts of your brain that like, it's almost like you're building new brain pathways. Like you're solving problems that you didn't even know were problems. You're dealing with things that you didn't even know.
Because how can you know what you don't know until you get there, right? Yeah.
Yes,
you just don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
I'm finding out there's lots of things I don't know.
Yeah.
In fact, my favorite new phrase is, I don't know what I don't know. Don't feel free to point it out to me. I'm like hiring 18 experts. I'm like, hopefully if I put like enough padding around myself, someone will tap me on the shoulder and be like, iceberg over there,
Yes.
iceberg over there. But yeah, it's really different. And I think what I underestimated was the difference even between the skill set that I was using at 1 million and the
Mhm.
skill set I was using at 5 million versus the skill set I'm using now. Like I didn't realize how different that was going to be versus like when you're in the low six figures and you're building up to the $1 million mark, you're really working a lot of the same muscles
Yes.
over and over again. So I guess to answer your question in a really long way,
Yeah.
um, every day is a learning curve. Every day is a learning curve. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, remember back to when you were in those low six figures and you were trying to hit that 7-figure mark, which I think is going to probably be a lot of our audience thinking through who's listening right now. What would you say would be the hardest thing, if you can remember back, about running like $1 million company? I know it's going to take you back a couple years ago.
I want to give something good.
And I can tell you for me, I know one of the hardest things that I had to learn was how to really delegate and give a lot of things away. And that was hard for me because it was like mine. Like, no, I do all the content. No, I write all the emails. No, I want to do all the Facebook ads. No, I want to come up with all the ideas. And I want you to turn every unhappy, person over to me. Like I need to have all those conversations. Like,
yes.
Yeah. And now looking back, I'm like, man, I wonder if I struggled with pride, or is that just the normal thing that happens to everybody as they're leveling up? I don't know, but I know that was hard for me.
I 100%.
That was hard.
And I've been building a team since day one, and I consider myself like on a leadership scale very strong, but I struggled still immensely with that, even though I like consider myself good with that. It's like you're good with the things that are naturally easy for you to delegate.
Yes.
They're not good with the things that are not easily natural for you to delegate. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. I'll give a good example of that. Like when I hired my first person to come to work for me, Vicky, to do emails for me like 5 or 6 years ago, I was happy to turn my inbox over to her. I'm like, here you go. Yes. Let it be all. Yes. Let me never open it again. But then when it came to like writing emails, and my team would like write an email, and I would be like, no, I want to see that first. Like I need to proofread it. Yeah. And I wouldn't say, hey girl, like that. I would say like, hey girl, like. And then I was like, okay, I'm a crazy person and I need to stop this. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, it's like delegating the more personal things that feel very personal, center of the circle to you.
Yes.
But I also think one of the big things, like back at that stage, that is what actually like allowed me to finally like make the big leap, was hiring to grow versus growing to hire. And that can be stressful because you have to manage the money so closely to be able to, drive the cash flow fast enough to cover the additional expenses. But really what I found is it's driving the growth trajectory of the company by hiring for growth versus like looking in a rear view mirror and saying, okay, now we're exploding. We can't handle the workload anymore. And I think that's where a lot of people really hit their plateau. Even I see it multiple six and kind of building up to the million and not being able to get over it, because it's like you wanna hire safely when you're already comfortably there. Right. But the thing that's going to get you there is hiring to get there. And I think it's like a mind F, right? It's like you literally have to think outside of yourself to get yourself to do that.
So tell me, just out of curiosity, when you are looking to hire, what are some of the things that you are looking for, Kelly? Or are there things that you're like, if they do X, Y, Z, then I automatically know that they're like not a good fit for Team Unstoppable? Is there things that you're looking for?
We definitely have a set of core values that we assess people against. And obviously like high integrity is like at the center of our circle with everything. We're a socially conscious company. We give back a lot. That's very, very important to me. But I would say in terms of like being a fit for the company overall, like I'm looking for people that have really big goals and dreams for themselves. And they see being a part of Team Unstoppable as a vehicle to achieve their goals and dreams. Like, it's not that I'm asking them to replace their dream with my dream. I'm asking them to take full advantage of my dream as a mechanism for achieving theirs. So I'm looking for people that have really big aspirations, really big goals for themselves. They're not here to get by. They're here to like maximize their potential on the planet. And they see linking arms with me as a way to go about doing that.
Okay, I love that. So you're not necessarily saying, look, you have to stop doing your side gig or your business hustle or anything like that when you come to work for me. More like learn all you can while you're here. Give me 100%. It's really going to help you in your thing too. Is that right? Am I paraphrasing that well?
I have a couple people that have side businesses, and it's been fine. And I have people that this is their life, right? This is all it's going to be, and I think that's fine. So I have entrepreneurs and I have entrepreneurs. And my whole thing is like, meet your expectations, be the best that you can be. I'm not here to own you, right? But I am here to be a demanding business partner of you and expect you to give your best and be your best.
Yeah. Are you easy to work for? Or are you hard to work for? Oh, this is a good question.
So I think for the right person, I'm very easy to work for. I think for the wrong person, I would be just their nightmare of all nightmares. I think for a person that has a very high desire for personal and professional growth, and they're actually committed to the really hard work, not the fluffy Tony Robbins, yay. But I'm talking like the really hard work of like learning business and truly growing as a person, as a leader. I think for those people, I'm a pleasure to work for. I think the people that want to get by and want to do the bare minimum or want to clock in and out of having a job or, don't like getting, direct and very specific feedback, I'm a nightmare.
It's so fascinating. I interviewed a bunch of people that work for me on a podcast recently, and I interviewed my project manager, and like I wanted to ask them, am I easy to work for? Because I think I'm easy to work for, but then but of course we always think we are. And every one of them was like, you are so easy to work for. However, I feel like they said that because I do have the right people in there. Because for other people, I think it would feel like I was a train wreck because I'm always like new idea, new thing that somebody's going to sort out. I can't remember half of my stuff. I was using the hashtag hot mess, Kelly, before hot mess was ever popular a decade ago on social media. And so for some people, they couldn't work in that environment. It's too chaotic for them and we would not be a good fit. But for the people that I've got in there, like, I think we're a really good fit. And I try to do really great things like they pretty much have unlimited vacation. I'm not here to babysit you. Here's your job. I'm paying for you for the job for the year. Take the vacation you need. Oh, by the way, you have mandatory vacation over the week of Christmas. You need to take at least another, so there's things that we've put in place, but I really want to be easy to work for the right people. But I know that there's been some people that it's been hard because it's not even a personality thing. It's just the way that I'm wired and the way that they are wired and the way they work just don't jive well at all.
Yeah. No, and that's it. When it's the right match, it's very easy.
And you strike me as somebody that could be intimidating if someone was not confident of who she was and confident of her own skills and was really able to take direction well.
That's it. And the thing is my goal is to create leaders. So I want to get people as quickly as possible to the point where they actually don't need my direction. They may request my collaboration. And I actually do feel like I've cultivated that really well in the company over a period of years. So now my challenge is I'm trying to teach my leaders in the company how they can teach their teams, how to elevate and grow that way.
Sure. Well, I've interacted with like 3 of your employees in the last couple of weeks, and I can tell you they are all rock stars. You are doing a phenomenal job. They are doing a phenomenal job. So kudos to you. So let's talk to the girl right now who's listening, and she is trying so hard to scale her business, to try to go from working nonstop to feeling like she just can't keep up to wanting to really to hire, but feeling like she can't. And she really wants to make more money and have a little more margin in her time. Would there be is there 2 or 3 things you can think of like, girl, start here, do this?
Yeah. Well, here's what I would say, going back to my NFL days, right? You can have the best quarterback in the world, but you put them on a crappy team with a bad coach and they're still not winning the Super Bowl. So the number one biggest miss that I see for entrepreneurs is they don't realize that it does not matter. Like for me, I am well aware my second book is dedicated to my team. I am well
aware. I have your book right here, as a matter of fact, girl. Look at this. Let's just give this a shout out while we're here. Is this one?
Bigger than you.
Yes.
Read the dedication.
Yes. Thank you for giving that to me, by the way. I appreciate that. It's sitting right here. Yeah.
So that book is all about building an unstoppable team. And it is my belief to the core of my being, since being in leadership when I was 21 years old, that it doesn't matter how good you personally are, there is a cap and limit to that. And so the biggest thing that I see that prevents entrepreneurs from making it to 7 or even multiple 7 figures is they're not surrounding themselves with the right people that are all in the same way that they are. And people always like, you're not going to get a staff that's all in on your dream at the same level that you are, but at least get people that are all in on their own dreams.
Yeah.
So that's number one. And then number two is, and I mean, I don't want to be cliche, but it is true. Like, you need to keep learning. You have to put yourself in a space to keep learning, get mentorship, get coaching, put yourself out there, learn from other people, stretch yourself to invest in things that feel awkward and out of your realm, right? That you know nothing about, so that you have people looking out for you, because it's also in their best interest too.
Yes. Awesome. So I was doing a training this morning for the women that are in my coaching group, and I had some thoughts of what I think is going to be, I don't want to use the word sexy, but what we're going to see more of in 2020. And like, one of the things that I was talking about is more like relationship marketing and less like what's called bro marketing. And I think people are so tired of oh, sorry, our website went down yesterday, so we'll let you go ahead and have another day to, sign up for the course. I think they're so tired of that. And they're right. And they're wanting access to real life human beings in the DMs and not just messenger bots and all of those things. So if you had to kind of make some predictions, like, 2020, according to Kelly Roach, like, what are we going to see that's hot in 2020? What are we going to see that the market is just really tired of? Or what shifts do you see coming? I know a friend of mine was asking me yesterday, like, do we use Facebook Messenger, for instance, and like mini chat? And I was like, you know what? We don't. I have some strong opinions on that. I know it works really well for other people, but I really feel like text marketing is taking over mini chat, and I could be wrong. So I'm just curious, like, we were just having some conversations. I'd love to just see what your thoughts are.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that online courses and digital information is going to continue to commoditize. And I think the prices of that are going to be driven down to almost nothing over the next 24 months. I also think that there will be conglomerates for courses where courses are sold for $10, $5, like an Amazon. I think that human connection and scalable intimacy are the most important things for any business owner, especially in the online space, to be focused on. And I also think the price for human connection and support, accessibility, direct interaction is going to go up substantially, which is very, very good for service-based business owners that are actually committed to getting people a result. So, I would just pay attention to what your competition is doing and run in the opposite direction, and you'll be in great shape.
If they zig, you zag. It's not the truth. But I mean, when I was giving my training this morning, I said to the ladies, this is a great year to be in business as a woman. And not that I'm all about like, I am woman, hear me roar. But if relational marketing is going to be more popular and that human connection is going to be more popular, I mean, women are just wired for that. We're just naturally wired for more relationship, more intimacy, all of those things. And so, yeah, I still think there's no better time than the present to be.
No better time.
So, all right, I'm going to ask you just 3 fun questions as we end, if that's cool. So, all right, so other than your podcast and my own, of course, what's your favorite podcast that you listen to?
Oh, I'm bad. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, but things have gotten a little bit busy for me.
Sure.
I will say that a treat is listening to Joe Rogan, because it's so just expansive in so many different directions and so many different types of conversations and so many subjects that I know nothing about. So I'll say that.
Awesome. Okay. How about a favorite book, Netflix series, television show, any of the things? If you have a guilty pleasure.
Oh, guilty pleasure. Oh, I'm so bad. Well, Real Housewives, there are a couple. I know it's so bad.
It's okay. You know what? Everybody needs a vice of some kind.
But sometimes you just need to black out and do something so mindless that you allow your mind to relax.
Yeah.
So that's
Gotcha. Okay. Your favorite place to vacation?
Oh, anywhere Caribbean. We're like total beach people. We whether it's California, Florida, Aruba, Bahamas, Jamaica.
Awesome.
Fun in the sun.
Awesome. Last one. You have a day off unexpectedly this week. What are you going to do?
Go to the spa.
Oh, me too.
Yes. Yes. I did not need to think about that.
Words. I know.
I did not need to think twice about that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that I was telling somebody the other day that massages and movies are two of the only ways that I can really like force my brain to not think about all the things that I think an entrepreneur. I mean, I think on one hand, when you're just a woman, you don't even have to have a business. Your mind's all over the place. And then if you're a creative, then it's even worse. And then if you're a creative woman in business, it's like a pinball machine at all times. And the only way sometimes I can settle that is with a massage or with a movie. And then oddly enough, I get some of my best ideas in a massage or in a movie. I'm like, I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about work. And then I get, something.
Yeah. Because other things can come in besides like that directional thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for being here today. So I know women are going to want to know where to find you in the online space. Where do you most like to play? Facebook, Instagram, where are you most at?
Yeah, I hang out in the tribe. So my Facebook group is called the Tribe of Unstoppables. So I do a weekly live show there, and I do a lot of like free trainings, live shows, all that fun kind of stuff. So connect with me there or Unstoppable Success Radio.
Okay, you are awesome. Well, friends, I hope that you enjoyed getting to know Kelly Roach today. She is really an unstoppable force. So go find her on social media, give her some love. Kelly, where can they find your book?
KellyRoachCoaching.com.
They can go KellyRoachCoaching.com. And again, thank you for that gift. So thank you guys for being here this week. Thank you for listening with Kelly and I. Next week on the show, I'm going to be talking about clarifying your brand and your message. It's so important to know who you serve and what you're serving them. And also because it's Christmas, it is going to be released a day early. So we'll be releasing the podcast on the 24th. So until then, stay creative. Bye-bye.